Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the program Voice for the Voiceless. My name is Toyin Morafa and I'll be presenting this show today. The show is dedicated to gang violence the ways to combat it, the ways to be able to help both the society and the local councils and other organizations to be able to combat gang violence. With me today, I have a lady here. I have a woman of substance. Her name is Barrister Funmi Alder. She is a barrister. She's got a background in immigration, crime, family, housing, and asylum. Not only that, she's also worked with the Home Office and she's worked with like different solicitors as well. She's got a first degree in law. She's got masters in oil and gas. She's got LLM in immigration law as well. Most importantly, she's got a non-governmental organization with the Disciple Church of God over here, and she's got a branch in Nigeria, which is dedicated to helping out youths, disadvantaged youths, widows, and orphans. You're very welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Okay. First and foremost, before we start anything, I'd like to find out from you what you think are the functions of homes, schools, and communities regarding youth that are linked to gangs.
Firstly, before I want to start the discussion, I just want to talk about what is juvenile delinquency.
Right.
The juvenile delinquency starts from, is between the age of 10 and 18, and that is where we have. It's not really in law. It's not called a crime, but it's
right.
called a juvenile delinquency, because in crime we're talking about the adult. And how did it start? Maybe by bullying, graffiti, stamping, or doing something that is not really out of the law. And within that, when you look at all these things that is happening in the society, whereby we have the age between 10 and 18, or will I say 10 and 16, we see all these kids, our children, like smoking, drinking, and doing some criminal damage to properties.
Right.
And that is where this kind of thing started. When it started in this aspect, it is pertinent enough for parents or the local community to stop that before it escalate to them committing more crime.
Right.
That it will now lead them to going to prison or spending time out
right.
of their house or of their community.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much for that. But like I said before, what do you think are the functions of the different areas that have already listed? What functions do they have regarding these children? Because some of them do need guidance, and one of the reasons why they've joined gangs is because they need mentors, they need older people to guide them. Unfortunately, those are the wrong areas where they shouldn't be. So as as a woman and as a mother, what do you think are the functions of all this in our society?
Thank you so much. The most important thing that we as mothers and fathers we know is that we need to train our children.
Right.
That is the first thing, because as a prophetess of God, and which I have a church of my own, and first thing, if we go into the Bible, if we go into Proverbs 26:6, which says, "Train up your child in the way that he or she should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." The most important thing we need to know is that we as parents, we need to teach our children the way to go. Because in this community, we know many parents, like me, any other parents, we need to work.
Right.
But there is a limit in we working and then training the children.
Right.
There's a two aspect in it: training and then working. We need to know what and where what our children are doing, because if we leave them, the Bible says, if you leave your child, you will both suffer. In the sense that we need to train them, and it's not that we are trying to go into, or we want to know what they're doing in their everyday life. We need to nurture them. We need to train them.
If I could cut you off quickly, ma'am.
Yes.
What I'm trying to, get to really is that, are there specific functions for a school? Is it just the parents that have got that they have to bring up the moral, when it comes to all the moral upbringing of the child? Is that just a responsibility for parents, or is it something that is interchangeable, or is it, where should schools be involved and where should the community be involved? Because there's some children that obviously when they're growing up, they're not growing up in their houses, they're not growing up with their parents. Some of them are in foster homes, for whatever reason. Some of them are taken away from the parents. So who actually has the responsibility with regards to the training up the children, especially regarding the era we are now?
Thank you so much. I think parents and the local community and the school need to do this thing together, because if we leave this to the school or to the parents were not there when the children were in the school, and also the community, like we have all the officers working in the community, checking out maybe these kids, these children were in the school at the proper time, because some of them they go out of the school. The school needs to make a record, and also parents too needs to know when and the time the children were in the school. With the school and with the community, the mom or the parents need to liaise with the school to see if the children need guidance. That is the most important thing. When a child is going off the track, the parents need to go to the school and notify them from onset. Because when a parent sees something that is happening in his maybe his kid's life or behavior, the most important thing the parents has to do is not to chastise the child. Because when you start chastising the child, it's like you are giving him a more power to do what he doesn't want to do. You need, as a parent, you need to go to school, liaise with the school, and then liaise with maybe if the child needs guardians. It doesn't matter, maybe the child is going to be taken away from the mom. No. If the child needs guidance, maybe he needs to go to maybe a recreation area, or maybe the child needs to talk to somebody. The school needs to do that, because without that, we have all these kids going around the community without the consent of the school, or without the knowledge of the mom or the parents, because the parent will be thinking, my child is in the school.
That's true.
And the school also, there has to be a record, a tracking record regarding these kids, because they are our children. And we need to know what they're doing and what they are bringing into the school, i.e. gun, knife, and all these sharp objects.
Just on that point that you've mentioned now, I'd like to bring in your non-governmental organization. with all these things that you've just, giving us right now, shows that there's a huge problem in our schools right now.
That's right.
And there's a breakdown of communication.
That's right.
That's the reason why these kids, because they don't have anybody to speak to,
That's right.
they'd rather defend themselves by arming themselves with knives and guns.
That's right.
Now, one of the reasons why we're here today is because we're trying to set up a project for all these youths, so that they'll have somewhere to turn to.
That's right.
Now, how would your NGO, and how would you, as a barrister and as a mom, be able to facilitate that bond between us, the children, and the school?
Yes.
As in, how will we become like the middleman where the children can turn to when they feel that the whole situation is like hopeless?
That's
or
right.
where the schools can turn to if they see that a troubled child is going wrong and they feel helpless to do anything about it?
Okay, thank you so much. In our own NGO, what we're trying to bring out and to do is, if any child has got any problem, what we're going to do, because we have our own agenda, we will try to liaise with the school to see if the child needs a guidance.
Right.
That is number one. Because not every child have the effrontery to speak to their mom.
Absolutely.
Because if a child is behaving in a way that is not a norm,
right,
we call it norm in a society. If a child is not behaving in that aspect, because let me digress. Because if the father is not there,
right,
and the mom, like I said earlier on, we as mom, we work.
That's true.
But there has to be a limit. But if that child hasn't got a mom to speak to, that is the bone of contention in this aspect.
Right.
When a child hasn't got a mom to speak to, or the mom is always out when the child is sleeping, and when the child has come back from school maybe by 4:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30,
right,
the child, there is nobody at home for the child.
right.
And now when the mom will come back at about 11 o'clock, when the child is sleeping again. So tell me, who is the one that is going to nurture this child?
Right.
So what we're trying to do in our own NGO is that we try to liaise with the school.
Right.
If there's any child has got any problem, we try to bring a guidance. And also we try, like if there's many of them, maybe 2 or 3, we try to organize a trip for them.
Right.
That trip for them is that we want to have a one-to-one communication with them.
Right.
We want to speak to them like girly talk, or we have a gentleman speaking to the boys or to the guys or whatever they call themselves, because now they say, no, I'm not a boy, I'm a guy.
Right.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is that we want somebody like a man or a young lad like them, a mentor, who is going to be speaking to them like what's going on. Like, when they have all that, you see them, they will open up.
Right.
They open up and then tell the mentor what is really going on. Because we as a parent, like many parents, I would say 80% of parents are always busy. And there has to be a demarcation in the sense that this child needs a guidance and the mom is not there at that time.
Like what I'm trying to get across is I'm trying to see what sort of, how you can be like the middleman, the bridge, how you can encourage the children to open up regardless of the problems they're having at home. Especially like you said, when the parents are busy, when they're like really working and they're trying to survive.
That's right.
a 9-to-5 world, because obviously everybody needs to work. So how, as your NGO, what sort of activities are you looking into to get these children, to turn their attention away from the violent world that they're leading now, or they're thinking of going into, and rather be able to come to you or any other mentor that we've got there and be able to open up and speak to us? Thank you so much.
What we're trying to do, by the grace of God, we're going to do that, which is on the pipeline. We're trying to have an interactive online fundraising. Interactive online fundraising, like we want to have an interactive online for the youth, whereby we don't know who is who, but we just want them to voice out what is in their mind, like an interactive online. Interactive online means that a child can go to any, you can go to any computer pool, whereby there has to be, because there's going to be a specific place whereby they can come there. Like a youth club, we're going to have something like a youth club, and we want to organize a space to organize a youth club, whereby all of them will be coming, many of them, which I know that some youths, when one or two goes, another one will follow. So that is what we're trying to do. Like yesterday, shall I talk about what I saw yesterday?
Oh yes.
Yes, like yesterday, I went to meet one of our mentor, and we were talking in McDonald's, and all of a sudden, right by the door, we're just talking about the child delinquency with one of my mentor that we need to see each other there at about 5 o'clock in the evening. And I saw three boys. I will call them 3 guys. They came in, and one was on the door, was singing, "I've got A47 gun."
Oh, you mean AK-47?
AK-47 gun. I'm going to shoot them. I'm going to kill anybody. I'm going to shoot. And it was a bit alarming. And I said to myself, and the mentor said, "Barrister, did you hear that?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Yes." I said, because now, and we were sitting at McDonald's. I sat there for 1.5 hours, and I saw many of them. They have closed about 3:30, and at about 6:30, some of them are there, and you see all our youth, the girls. And I was sitting next, and there was a mother who came there, and it told, she has been looking for her daughter, and then alas, she saw her at McDonald's, and she said, "You've closed since 3:30, and she was with her mate. With that, if we have an interactive online, which we're trying to set up by the grace of God, we want to have all that. We want them to voice out what is their grievances. Because when we want to talk about in law, maybe on employment law, we talk about grievances. Even the youth, they have grievances.
That's right.
Which we parents, we don't know that they have grievances.
That's right.
We need to know that this youth, they are children, they are growing up.
That's right.
And we need to know how to nurture them and how to speak to them.
Thank you very much. Sorry to cut in once again. Thank you very much to everybody watching the show. My name is Toyin Morafa, and you're watching the program called The Voice for the Voiceless. It is a program dedicated to gang violence and different ways of combating it, and bringing the youth, away from that life, making them more productive, and finding out what their skills and what transferable skills that they have, the skills that we can bring from the streets and put, and be able to use it for them, so that they'll find other ways other more meaningful and productive ways to, you know, to use this. With me again is Barrister Oluwafumilayo Alder. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
First and foremost, on behalf of the Project Homework, we would like to say a very big thank you, because you've offered so many innumerable help. You've been there right from day one, and I can see how, you know, how interested and how affected you are with the issue of youth violence. So that leads me to the next question.
That's right.
What about, you know, the children from violent homes, or the children that the parents are not capable of looking after them?
Yeah.
There's some parents who that are going through a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might not just be drinks, it might not be drugs, it might not be anything.
Yeah.
It might just be at a particular stage.
Yeah.
You feel that life is too much for you to handle, so you do break down. In circumstances like that, when it comes to children like that, who do you think should be responsible for them, both in the short term and the long term, and make sure that at least they'll have someone to turn to when they're thinking, you know, about going into, well, gangs with their peers?
Thank you so much. I think the first, their first contact should be with the local community.
Right. When you say local community, are you talking about the local authorities, which is the council, or you're talking about the community itself, which is like, you know, like
the social services?
Yeah.
Yes. Firstly, their first contact, if they are in the secondary school, their first contact is to speak to their mentor in the school.
Right.
They must not keep silent, because keeping silent means that, well, they can do and undo.
That's true.
They can do anything beyond their own capability.
That's right.
So the most important thing, that if something else is happening, number one, which I will urge the parents, because not every parent have the urge or have the prerogative to go and speak to the school, which I think it is pertinent.
Right.
It is pertinent for the parents to talk to the school, to tell them that this is what is happening in my house, this is what is happening in my family.
Right.
Can I speak to somebody? Because you keeping silent is you are keeping silent to tomorrow's trouble.
Right.
And that's what I will call it. Keeping silent today is keeping silent for tomorrow's trouble. The first thing is for the mom to liaise with the school, to talk to whoever is maybe a psychologist in the school compound,
right,
working with the school community, and then from there, it can now go on. If the school mentor cannot solve the problem, then the social services will now come in.
Right. Right.
It's not that the social services is taking the child away, but the social services has to know what is going on in the family.
Right. Thank you very much, Vice Alder. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much.
Guys, don't go away. We'll be going for a short break. Well, just a really short break. So we will see you very shortly. Thank you for watching with us.
Makes a wish.
Dear Santa, it's Christmas time again. Last year I was all by myself. I don't want to be all by myself this Christmas. Please send me, brother.
Our wish was granted.
Hello. Hey, Ella, hello, Ella.
There's no way I'm sleeping here with one of those brats. I said leave my room or else I'll shove you.
Not exactly what she bargained for.
Stop irritating. Now can you please go and sleep on the floor? No. I said go and sleep on the floor.
Well, I did read it, but I never anticipated all this.
But Santa gives a memory that will last for a lifetime.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you
The Christmas gift. From the award-winning director, Rhoda Wilson. Merry Christmas.
Welcome back to Voice of the Voiceless for the Voiceless. Once again, my name is Toyin Morafa, and with me this afternoon is Barrister Alder. We are discussing about the gang violence and the high rates, how it is escalating into these communities, and the steps that we can use to combat it. But when I'm talking about combating, I'm talking about ways that we can help the youth that have got problems and there's nobody to turn to. The steps that we can take to help them. What are the skills that we need from them, and we can help them to grow it up, in such a way that they'll be able to use it for the positive and not negative. So, which leads me to my next question, Barrister Alder. I had the privilege of interviewing a young gentleman that was stabbed a couple of months ago, but luckily he is alive, and he was able to tell me his side of the story. Lucky for him, he comes from a close family, a close relationship, where he has a lovely relationship with his mom, and from there he's able to build his life back up after this happened. He wasn't in the gang at all. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that leads me to my question: how can a parent, well, in this case, because you're the woman here, how can a mother know that her child or her children, they're becoming troubled teenagers and they need help? What are the things you see in the teenager, whether it is a boy or a girl, and take steps to combat it, either by talking to other people or, being the moral compass for the young child?
Thank you so much. The first thing, when a mom notices something that is cynical or something different from her daughter or a son, the first thing the mom has to know is maybe the child is listening to this music, and then it's not coming in at the right time that he was before. Then that is where the trigger comes in.
Right.
The trigger comes in when you see your son or your daughter listening to music or being having this nonchalant attitude.
Right.
The attitude that she or he hasn't got before, and then the child has started behaving funny, and that is where you first of all start having the click that something is happening. And what do you do? What do you do is that you don't chastise the child.
Right.
You don't shout at the child. You don't say, oh, no, 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 this, that. No. You need, as a parent, you need to have a girly outing with your daughter. If you have a girly outing with your daughter can now voice out whatever is in her mind. Because like I said before we went for a short break, there are so many kids, some of our children, that we haven't got time for them.
Right.
We need to have a time for these children. That is the most important thing, and it is very pertinent that you must have a close relationship with your child.
Right.
That they said, in the Bible, they said, the family that pray together don't break. When you have a close relationship with your daughter or with your son, like going out, having a girly outing with your daughter, you can have outing with your son, because you know our son, when you say, oh, let's go out, say, no, mom. Then you say, okay, meet me at McDonald's, or meet me at meet me at the eatery. Then when you now sit down with your son, you now ask him, it's like you start talking to him as if, you put yourself to his level.
Right.
And then you start talking to him. When you start talking to him, that's the time he too will start talking and say, Mom, this happened. Mom, this happened. That is where you start having the click that there is something happening.
Sorry to cut you off from there, man.
Yeah.
But using your own personal experience,
That's
because
right.
you've got both male children and female children.
That's right.
And obviously they must have been troubled teenagers as well. But now they, well-respected members of the community, because they had to grow out of that troubled phase. As a mother and as a woman, how were you able to recognize this and get them to be closer to you? I know it would not have been easy, but eventually I'm sure you were able to do it, because your children are adorable.
Yes, thank you so much. The most important thing with I will use my children as an example, because when I had my children, maybe because I wasn't living in London, I was living in outside London.
Right.
So there is at that time, I'm talking about 90s, where there is nothing like child delinquency at that time. And I normally have dinner with my children. I make sure I have dinner with them every night.
Right.
And I make sure I do their homework, and I'll ask them, what do you want to do? Where are you going tomorrow? And they know me in their school. Even maybe their head teacher or whatever will be looking and say, oh my God, this woman. I'm always asking the school. And that's the reason why I skate through this child delinquency. I'm always looking, asking the school. And also, the most important thing that I do before they start growing up to be their own mothers and daddies is that I travel with them a lot.
Oh, right.
I travel with my kids a lot. It's not going to Africa, but sometimes I said, guys, we're going to Italy tomorrow. Guys, we're going to Dubai. I said, oh God, no. I said, I'm not going there because there is, I go there when there is bonanza sales. Sorry about it. And then when we get there, it's like, I want to talk to them because I have more boys than girls.
Right.
So the boys, I take so much with the boy, because they said the mom and the boy, you're a child.
Yes, you're a team.
Yes.
Yeah, you're closer.
So I close more with my boys. Right. But the girls, is like, I'll talk to her, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to do. And at that time, there is nothing like child delinquency, and they don't see there is no how they can even go beyond what I taught them, because I don't smack. Then I go to their room, I talk to them, and thank God everything was okay. Even though you do it single-handedly.
Right.
Even though you do it single-handedly. I did it as a single mom.
Right.
As a single mom, I'm telling you. I did it as a single mom. And that's why some people ask me, say, how do you cope going to college, going to uni, and coping with almost about 5? And I said, it is God.
Right.
It is not by my power. But the first thing you need to know, you need to have, is a close relationship with your son. The son, your mom, you need to have a close relationship with your son. Your son has to be, sorry, I have to use that word. Your son has to be your husband.
Right.
Because anything that you are doing, your son has to know. Before you go, you say, hi son, hello boy, hey, hi, I'm coming home. You say, okay mom, okay. And I discovered that the son, they are even more closer to me than the girl. But thank God. But the most important thing is always having a girly outing or mommy's son outing.
At this stage, I would like to, one of the reasons why we're doing this project, like I said, is we're trying to facilitate, the relationship between the community and these children.
That's right.
So that they'll find it easy to come and speak to someone. So with all the skills that you've talked about now, how you were able to cope with your children, how you were able to bond with them, how can you take the skills, how can you transfer it to your NGO so that when we're going around talking to all these troubled youths, all the troubled teenagers, we can be able to, get through to them as well. Because the first step is getting them to open up.
That's right.
Once they've opened up, we'll be able to sit down, find out about their coping skills.
That's right.
See where we can add more or where we can amend or how to make them use the skills so that it will become more beneficial, not just to the community, but to them and their families. So how would you be able to transfer those skills that you had with your children when you were growing up to be able to use it for this, the children that need help now, especially kids that, like I said before, they did not grow up around their family for whatever reason.
Thank you so much. The first thing what we want to do by the grace of God is the first thing we want to have a social gathering.
Right.
A social gathering means that you want to have an interaction with the kids. Right. You want to have that rapport, let it flow with their child, and then because that child knew that you are not his mom or her mom.
Right.
Now, it's like you're talking to them in a way that you have a social gathering whereby we just tell them, we say, talk to each other. By talking to each other, each of them talking to each other, then that's the time they will start opening up.
Right.
They will open up, and then that's the time you will know where the problem comes from.
But how, even though they're talking to each other, how would that make them approach you? Or how would that make them come to your attention or let them know, come and meet you and say consciously, I need help, I'm going through bullying, I'm not happy at home, and the way it is now, I feel like, I need money, my family, we're living in poverty, and we need to survive. How can you get the frustrations out of such a teenager and get them to come and speak to us, and be able to help them, live better lives?
Well, the first thing if that one doesn't work, we want to do something like meeting other children, meeting them, and then through the local community, like having this, like I said earlier on, having this interactive fundraising.
Right.
Interactive fundraising means that it can start from the church. it can start from anywhere. It can start from the church, from home, and then we have kids coming out, doing fundraising, and then having a should I call it a social rapport with these children, with them.
So basically, you're trying to set up something online
That's right.
that will be able to
Yes.
make them come out and
Yes.
be able to use their skills
That's
online.
right.
and be
Like
able to
organizing
interact.
fundraising, raffles, and all that. With that, you know, when these kids have something doing,
Right.
they lessen up. There is a way that they will now be voicing out what is in their mind. But when they are kept in the home, how they haven't got anything to do.
Right.
It's like they can do anything that is beyond their own capability. And after they've done that, maybe crime, delinquency, or whatever, they will start with, oh, I didn't know I did it. Because they are kids.
Right.
They are kids.
That's true.
And sometimes my mind, honestly, my heart grieves when I see all this thing that is happening. It is not them. Sometimes they don't want to do it. But because there is nobody there, honestly, God help me, there is nobody to talk to.
That's right.
And there is nowhere. The only place they know is maybe the school, and sometimes some of them don't want to talk to the social services, because with all due respect, we have youth. Maybe their moms or their dad hasn't got papers or whatever. They don't want to put their mom or their dad in trouble.
Right.
And that is the most important thing that is happening.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, this has been a very, very interesting discussion.
Thank you so
and there's
much.
been so many aspects that we still need to deal with.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't go through everything today.
Right.
But once again, thank you very much for for coming on the show
you so
and
much.
talking about gang violence and how we can combat it. Anytime you need to speak to Barrister Alder, you can get in touch with her through our project or through her church, which is the Disciple
Church of God, CNS
Ministries,
Yeah.
and or through Heritage TV or through Toyin Morafa. Once again, thank you very much for watching the show. My name is Toyin Morafa, and I hope to see you next week, where we'll be having more discussions with regards to other reasons and other factors that has an effect on gang war. Thank you, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much.
She makes a wish.
Dear Santa, it's Christmas time again. Last year, I was all by myself. I don't want to be all by myself this Christmas. Please send me, brother.
Her wish was granted.
Hello. Hello, Ella.
There's no way I'm sleeping here with one of those brats. I said leave my room or else I'll shove you.
Not exactly what she bargained for.
Stop irritating. Now can you please go and sleep on the floor? No. I said go and sleep on the floor.
Well, I did read it, but I never anticipated all this.
But Santa gives a memory that will last for a lifetime.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you
The Christmas gift. From the award-winning director, Rhoda Wilson. Merry Christmas.
Heritage Television. Promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS, and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.